Sure. I'll keep my meals under $30 as per the policy. I'll make sure it's $30 every single time. I do a lot of fly-in fly-out travel for my job. Usually I am so busy with work while on site, or I am stationed somewhere with food options I don't want to waste my calories on, and I don't eat anything the whole day or just buy a coffee. Our employee expenses policy at work is $30 a day, which is mostly fine. But there are some high cost of living cities, and sometimes my meals go above that policy because there is not many options, especially if I want to eat healthy, which is important when you are constantly on the road. Plus, so many airports have completely shut down their food courts and haven't reopened them yet, so there's hardly any options but fast food. So I submit my expenses one month and I have gone $1.50 over the daily limit because I treated myself to a coffee that morning as well as a lunch because I was tired after the god-awful early flight I had to take. The company had recently changed their policy and now a different set of people are approving expenses. The previous people didn't mind going over by a few bucks because it balances out with trips where I didn't eat anything, but this new group are absolute sticklers and rejected the expense, citing I was over the daily limit. I tried to argue I had 10 other visits that month in which I didn't eat a single thing, but they still weren't budging. It really left a sour taste in my mouth. Now every single visit I force myself to spend as close to $30 as I can because fuck them. My husband is happy because it means I now bring back, slightly squished but free, food for him. I feel bad for wasting food, but often I just buy a meal and eat a few bites and throw it in the bin. However, the expense policy is $30 a day, and by God I am going to stick to it now. While in the past I might have billed $100 for the entire month because I didn't bother to eat, I am now billing twice or three times that. I also used to push myself to keep working all day, but now I religiously take my 30 minutes to go and buy some food, so that's 30 minutes less work they're getting from me too. My first business trip, my manager called me in and pointed out my food expenses were low. Well, I grabbed McD's for breakfast, a sandwich at the convention center, and we did Denny's for dinner. Your per diem is $75 a day. $152040 is the split, and you only need recipients if you go over $50. Now, what were your food expenses again? I'd be happy if my partner brought me free food, even if it is a bit squished. This is some satisfying malicious compliance. I would make sure they know. I've seen this post on here before, nearly word for word. Pretty please update us if the company you work for reaches out to you over the recent increase in your food bill. For when you're not hungry, rather than a few bites plus throw away, looking around and see if there's anyone you could do a good deed for. 30 worth of food could really help someone. Hold on, do you have to prove you bought the food via receipts? Ridiculous if so. Used to work for a company that gave an allowance for food every day you were off-site, and I just put in for the full amount each expenses claim, but it was never needed to be proven by receipts. Wasting food isn't a soul move. Jesus. I think we are allowed that for lunch alone. Nor is it ever questioned. Your MC I agree with. You seem like a gem. Companies like this are ghetto as fuck. Bail on him as soon as you can for a better company. This is cheap as fuck. Our work just gives us X amount of dollar per day. Keep it or spend it. I would recommend purchasing items from places that allow tipping and tip out to make it exactly $30. If you aren't really eating, just buy a cheap item and make someone's day with a good tip. Classic. They want to save $1, it costs them thousands in the long run. Go read Isaac Getz's Freedom, Inc. book on that subject if curious. Having the break every day is going to be good for you. Feel free to leave a tip of the bill if under $30. It's not an own or malicious compliance to use the per diem that they budget for you. You should also do it to get the rewards points. Anti-work would love this. Also, never work through your breaks, that's wage theft. I know this isn't anti-work, but mate, as a default you should stop working long enough to eat without needing petty vengeance as motivation. Absolutely wild that you think taking 30 minutes of your day to eat is really sticking it to your company. You're my hero. Create a Venmo account called Lunchtime Eat and charge $30 even every day. I feel like this has been posted verbatim before. Could you just get that money from an ATM if you wanted to? Claim the restaurants only took cash, and then when you quit show them all the videos you have of yourself lighting $30 on fire for every one of these lol. Never work through your lunches or breaks. Don't give whoever you work for free labor. That's awesome. If you're not hungry you could buy a stranger's lunch. I feel this petty thing is going to hurt you more than it is gonna hurt them. When I'm traveling, I enjoy ordering food and sharing with the homeless. Ours was $45 per diem. You always got it. If you used a company card, you subtract from it on your expense report. So if I used $5, I would get $40 as a bonus. I did the same thing, but in order to reach the daily total, I'd add on 8 bars of chocolate to reach the amount. Feed the homeless or pay for someone's lunch ahead of them. This is well done, but as you said, you don't like wasting food. So unless you plan in taking it home, if you aren't eating, please give it to a homeless person or someone in need. Hope you see this. Where I worked, we used to be given a daily allowance to be spent or not when away training or working, and there were smaller payments for day trips, enough for a sandwich and drink if trip was over 5 hours, a bit more if away for over 10. Most people ate frugally and pocketed what they didn't spend. Then it changed. No more per diem or allowances. Full refunds would be given for all food and non-alcoholic drinks if receipts provided. A complete pain in the backside if you were buying your drink from a station stall. Worse still, you didn't actually have to send the receipts off, just keep them safe for 12 months in case your claim was chosen to be verified. Everyone had a big envelope in their desk drawer full of till roll bits and handwritten notes from newsagents. I dislike people who are sticklers to absolute rules without a shred of critical thinking to understand the intent of the rule. Block-headed bureaucrats. Depending on your workplace, they may actually be happy with this. It is showing you are now definitely taking your work break, whilst before you didn't. Either way, make the most out of your breaks while you can. My colleague was chased for going 20p over budget. About a quarter in America. She had to pay it with her debit card. Once had a business trip with clients, 6 on interstate flights, 2 days lodging, 2 vehicles. My rate was, I believe, $150 per hour, all expenses paid. Client team lead bought a $3 Woolworths cake to share for one desert between 7 people. One was resident to site, 6 interstaters, and got reamed out for the expense. He was wearing 6 hats from fiery to program manager to team lead, so he quit on the spot and became one of those. Oh him. We don't talk about his exit. If you only need $5 to eat, why not feed some random people who look like they can't afford it? You see someone fishing for food in a dumpster. You still got $20 left in your expenses. Buy them a sandwich or something. Well, you always should be taking care of yourself. If maliciously complying with the daily maximum gets you to eat regularly and take breaks occasionally, I see this a major win. Haha, I had this same thing, but it was $8 per meal, 3x a day. So even if I bought all my food at once, I had to get 3 receipts. So annoying. Oh, glad our per diem in my previous work doesn't need a receipt. They just give you the budget, $150 for every 24 hours, and you can spend or not spend it. Do it. I used to be one of the good ones. Keep to my frugal ways, even at work. Saved them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I go over one time because, like London is expensive, I live in a smaller country, and then hauled over the coals. Foo. Quit not long after for greener pastures. Can you buy gift cards at restaurants to get to $30? Most efficient use of per diem if you can expense a non-itemized receipt. You could maybe buy other people's stuff instead of throwing it away, but otherwise great work. Good. Balance the scales. Make sure you take more and longer bathroom breaks. Probably going on fraud if you got gift cards at those places, maybe not. I know you're trying to stay healthy, but lollies, chips, and snacks count as food, right? I would stop by a gas station and get an energy drink and breakfast sandwich, cost about $4.50 on the way out of town every week. I would drive through the rest of my lunch. Boss called me to his office, told me no more energy drinks. I told him sure, $10 plus meals and full lunch breaks from then on. Maybe you can try to give some of that surplus to someone in need, instead of spoiling the food. Fuck concur. Just go at the grocery store and bring back home the food you get. They can't prove you're not eating it, right? Eat better. Instead of the $5 PB&J sandwich, get the $10 steak sandwich.